probably 6 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago. I was a young guy just trying to figure myself out. I was in a sales position in a company, and I started hanging out with the wrong people. They were good people, wrong habits, just bad habits. And being young, being driven by money and wanting to prove something and being successful, I focused and I did really good at sales to the point where I got promoted to manager in that job. And I was now the youngest guy managing all the older guys. And so it went to my head. And because I had a lot of bad habits with those guys, we did a lot of partying and drugs and drinking and all this stuff. And one night we decided to celebrate because I'd made the most money in ever in a one paycheck. And I drove home at like 3 a.m. and I wasn't high or anything like that, but I was driving home, I was really tired. And I ended up falling asleep behind the wheel and I drove right into a massive utility pole. And I remember when it hit, I thought for a moment, I think I'm dying, because you get really, your body releases all this cortisol, your brain shuts off, you're just in the moment, present moment, no thinking, and you just go, I'm dying. And the car hit such impact on the right side of my car, so on the passenger side, it made my car spin and then knocked off a fire hydrant. The car landed on the edge of a hill going into a parking lot. And something beautiful happens when you have a near-death experience like this, where you almost are about to get your life taken. Your brain completely stops, your mind stops, everything stops, time stops. And the only thing there is the present moment. So for the first time, after having drifted and being so in my head and unconscious these months, or maybe up until that point in my life, I had this moment of complete silence where I was just still. In that few seconds of it spinning, the car spinning, I'm just sitting there thinking I'm going to die. It's accepting it. I feel like I woke up. And luckily, I opened my eyes, I was still alive. I actually was not damaged at all. I just had a bruised rib cage and some fingers were broken. I grabbed my phone, I came out of the car, and I remember coming out of the car like, this is a brand new car I just got. My dad had helped me get it at that time. So it was a huge accomplishment. It was like 3 weeks I had the car. Just crashed it, totaled it. I walked out and I thought, man, I'm just going to pay for the car. I'm going to fix it. I was a positive guy. I'm going to fix it. I got all this money. I'll fix it. And I walk out to see the car, and there's nothing left to fix. And half the engine's gone. Which makes me think, like, how fast was I driving that I fell asleep? My foot fell asleep on the wheel, on the pedal. And I remember looking down, man, I'm like, that sucks. Like, this car is gone. I was afraid to call my dad because this is what he was afraid of. It was 3:30 in the morning. I was afraid to call my family. They're like, what the hell are you doing out this late? And all I remember in that moment is like, look, everything happens for a reason. I had a choice to say I'm an idiot for doing this, or to say it happened for a reason. I chose that one. And I said to myself in that moment, I remember, even then, I said, this is just going to be a good story to share with people one day. Because I felt so awake, I thought this is going to change everything. I got so afraid of almost dying, having done all the stupid shit I was doing with my friends, that I'm like, I want to stop doing it. If this was actually the last moment of my life, I wouldn't be really proud of what I was doing. So I had the luxury, the privilege. I think I was gifted that experience, because most people don't have that their entire life and they waste their whole life unconsciously. I got it really early on at the age of 18. And I remember turning around and going, I don't want to do this. If I had just died, I would be very disappointed in how I was doing things. So I completely changed everything. And that night triggered my decision to say, okay, I realized something. I was doing all of this and becoming this way. My life was kind of going down the drain because of what? Because I was trying to earn more money. That was my justification. And I had a very wise lesson just brought to my mind in that moment. During that era, I realized, during that time of self-reflection, I quit the job I was in. I left everything. I started from scratch. I remember I realized, I'm like, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how you make it that determines your life. And so even though I was making lots of money, I was becoming a terrible person. So that kind of shifted everything. And coincidentally, I said it's going to be a good story to share with people one day. Years later, 2-3 years later, it turned into an entire business called the Reborn Experience, where I use the concept of my near-death experience and I use it as a coaching process to help my clients go to the last line emotionally of them. What's the worst thing that could happen? If today was your last day, would you be happy? And because they accept the leverage of how bad that sounds, like, no, I don't want this, they change. So I use that experience of mine, the near death, and how it shifted my life to help hundreds of other clients through my Reborn Experience program make decisions to change around their life, to turn around what they're doing that they don't want to do.